a beautiful day today. Look at it now. So today I wanted to look into something. Hope this noise isn't too bad out here, but about 2 months ago, maybe longer than that, I got my sister last year an apple tree, and a couple years before that one, mainly for pollination purposes. You see I have one right here, this little guy right here, coming into bud. So you can grow them in containers like that. She has her out in her yard near the orchard, and I got her a really expensive tree last year. And unfortunately, she went home one day and saw that something had chewed it right off. And she didn't want to tell me, but it happens. I'm like, it's not your fault. So we went to down their place, and my purpose was to take some epoxy and seal where it had been cut, try to graft on pieces of what had been ripped off. It was just shredded, so I could get it down maybe about that much from it, and I think it should be fine. It looks like it's getting buds on it. But then the other factor of it is I had this other piece of an apple tree that had been ripped off, and I wanted to, instead of just throwing it away, find a way to experiment on it. This is what I came up with, and you'll see, like, air layering is not a great thing when you're not connected to the tree, because you are still getting moisture through the stem. But I'm going to give it a shot. I don't expect this to work. I don't think it's going to work, but I'm going to try. So what I did, it's already budding here. That's a good sign. These can fall off just as easily, but I got my little potato here, shall we call it. So all this is just a little bit of aluminum foil protecting this, which is the stem that I'd cut off. So I cut here, about right here to here, and stripped it. I've got some tablets in here that are aspirin. Aspirin helps to prevent any kind of fungal growth, and also promotes the tree to grow new roots. And I tied this with a little zip tie, a plastic bag, vermiculite. You can just use Coco Cool or as anything else. Keep the moisture in, keep the light off of it, wrap it tight, and let it sit. And that's what I came up with. So if this actually does bloom, I might have to eliminate, I'm seeing there's not much here, so it's only alive I think to about here. So I might have to eliminate like some of this, maybe to about here. And if it buds the whole way, fine. But this is okay. I need leaves. You need leaves to bring in food for the plant, but you also need roots. And this should, if I leave it sit out, have a good chance of rooting. And if it does, baby it and baby it and baby it, and you get another apple tree from that. Air layering is done a lot better on a plant that has a stem connected to it, not where it's torn off. An example of it is this very old grapevine I have. See, I've patched it. That was all ripped off. And here's a spot where I air layered the other year. Last year I got it where the roots were where I wanted it to be. So right here was a piece of a limb that came off. I did the very same thing. I would cut like this much off. I would strip this down, wrap something like that on it, and let it sit. Now, the benefit of this, where it's not cut off, is that you're going to get some moisture from the plant itself still going through, and it's going to enhance the rooting. What I wound up with was this little guy right here, which is going to come out and is a grapevine that's made from the original, so that I don't have to like lose that part of the grapevine if this dies off, because you can see that it's had a lot of, over 100 years, 80 to 100 years I figure, of it being a grapevine here. And I can make a copy of it, still keep the same kind of grapes. Will this guy work for me? I don't know, have my hopes up, but I'm realistic too. Even when you get to this point, someone asked me the other day about rooting pine cuttings from pine tree. And they're absolutely right. The success rate is very, very minimal. You don't get a lot to the root. And if you do, babying them from this point to getting them where they actually have stable roots is another point to it. But still, it's fun to do, and something you're going to be throwing out anyways. And you learn every time you do something what works for you. What works for me should work for everybody, but you may have a way that's better, you know. And feel free to experiment a little bit with it, you know. That's what the older people did. They didn't have books to go on other than the arbor books. They had what they had and what was passed down as information. So I find the aluminum foil works well. In the old days, they used wax, beeswax, and I like using acrylic or any kind of epoxy along with wax to seal it. It works better on the bigger trees. So I'm gonna keep you updated on this.